Spotify. How about we talk about Spotify? What just happened with Joe Rogan?
Yeah.
You think Joe Rogan's having fun right now? You think Joe made a decision that he's happy about privately by himself? Let's read this here. Woke Spotify employees demanding editorial oversight over Joe Rogan. Some woke Spotify employees are demanding control of Joe Rogan podcast. Per Digital Music News, the fear-driven staffers want editing oversight before each episode goes live. The request includes content flags, trigger warnings, references to fact-check information, and the option to block an episode from publication. Employees have held more than 10 meetings to discuss the changes. Company CEO Daniel Ek is pushing back at the demands and wants to continue as is. Last week, Rogan's podcast caught fire when he claimed left-wing people were arrested for lighting forest fires in Portland. Rogan then retracted, I need to make an apology. I said something on the podcast with Douglas Murray about people getting arrested for lighting fires, and I got duped. It's wrong. Joe Rogan was brought to Spotify to be Joe Rogan. It's absurd for an employee to think control version is. So anyways, what are your thoughts about all this stuff taking place with Joe Rogan?
It's appalling. I mean, he has to have something in his contract that says that he has the final say of his content. He's not a journalist, all right? He doesn't have to fact check his podcast. He can say whatever he wants. That's the beauty of it. You give those woke employees at Spotify an inch, they'll take a mile, all right? He has to nip this in the bud and say, screw you. I will say what I want when I want. The numbers will keep going up on my podcast. He better get some support from Spotify, who brought him over there. I mean, you know what you hired. I think it's appalling. I think it's ridiculous. I hope he doesn't buckle in and give in to him. He's got to say something and just have that attitude that people like about him.
Adam.
Rogan's got to be Rogan, man. I mean, that's exactly what they brought him over. I will say this is something I'd like the media to do more, where he gives an apology. He says, I was wrong. I had some bad information. I had some bad intel. I'd like to retract my statement and make an apology. I wish more of the media did that. I wish more of the media did that.
Respect to him for doing that.
Yeah, but there is a big difference between a guy who's paid for his opinion 100% as opposed to the media and journalists who are writing stories. So yes, you have to apologize if you're a journalist, but if he starts doing that, what is he supposed to go through every episode and every time he made a mistake apologize? It's ridiculous.
No, I mean, if you're wrong, do you not apologize and own up to it? What are you saying?
So let me ask you this question. Is the world a better place because of Steve Jobs?
Yes.
Is the world a better place because of Winston Churchill?
Of course, Kai.
Okay. Is the world a better place because of Microsoft? Is the world a better place because of Amazon? Is the world a better place because of Joe Rogan?
I think so, yeah.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I would say that's a stretch.
No, let me tell you why I don't think it's a stretch. Okay, I'm not comparing him to Steve Jobs. Obviously, we're not talking about him being a level at that time. But for a guy, like some people are like, oh, Pat, you're trying to compete with Joe and all this. But, buddy, I look at Joe as a guy that's good for society. Okay, there is no competition here. Joe's the guy when it comes down to podcasting. He is the guy. No matter what anybody says, he's the current guy. You got to salute what this guy's built. However, here's a couple things to be thinking about. I think Joe helped people have the weird, uncomfortable conversations, but he used it through humor and saying things like, oh, I don't know. I have no clue what I'm talking about. But almost like, oh, shucks, I don't know. But let me tell you, these freaking people, they're stealing and they're lying and they're just, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, just a UFC guy. So he kind of did that, and you kind of like, listen, I know you're a genius behind that whole, I don't know what I'm talking about, I'm not a journalist. The guy changed the world of media, okay? Changed the world of media. My concern is a couple things. Here's what my concern is. You ever bought something in your life and a day later you regretted it? I tell you, one time I was in an office in Woodland Hills. And I've never told this story before. I was in the Woodland Hills office, and it was right across the street from P.F. Chang's, and it was right across the street from, this is in Warner Center. I don't know if you're familiar with Warner Center Marriott. The property was set up right next to Marriott, right across from a P.F. Chang's, right across from a mall, right by Maggiano's, right by a restaurant that I used to go to all the time. I forgot the name of. Right across the street from a movie theater. It was in a perfect place, okay? One day, a guy comes, knocks on the door, and he says, we've heard you've grown. I said, we have. He says, great. I'm thinking it's like they want to do an article. He says, well, you own LA County taxes. I said, what do you mean? You owe us $85,000. I said, I'm sorry? So you're out of your mind. I owe you. I pay all my taxes. He said, yeah, you own LA County taxes. This is different. This is the city. Because the city can come after you because your business is growing. I said, there's no way in the world. I said, get out of here, man. Give me the receipt. I call my accountant. They're on the 8th floor, 1 story below me. And they said, Pat, it's hit and miss. If they come and they know, you have to pay for it. I said, you got to be kidding me. I said, what counties in California do I not have to pay for this? They said 13 of them. And they tell me which one, Victorville, Santa Monica, Glendale, Burbank, because of the Hollywood, all this stuff. I said, great, then I'm leaving Woodland Hills.
Yeah.
So I left Woodland Hills. I went to Glendale. And I got an office in the New York Life building we were showing you the other day on Brand, 801 North Brand. I missed the Woodland Hills office. Okay? For me, going to work, it has to be an office that I'm looking forward to going to work with. I had to psychologically convince myself that I liked the new office. Now, why was I forced to go to that office? Well, I signed a lease for another office in Glendale that I love, right above CPK. Last second, their attorneys came back and said somebody else gave us a bigger offer. We're terminating your contract. I said, how could you do that? So we're not in final phases yet. So I lost the office that I really wanted to go to and work out of, which was beautiful. It's a great feeling. There's almost like a feng shui type of a feeling to an office. It's got to feel good, right?
Feel good when you walk in there.
I thought about that Woodland Hills office for a long time. Every day I'd want to go to lunch, all I thought about was Woodland Hills because I couldn't walk to a place like I could in Woodland Hills. I couldn't go to my favorite waiter. I'm a guy that gets connected to a waiter and server. I want to go to that person over and over and over again. What's my point here? I hope Joe is not sitting there by himself saying, I wish I would have never gone to Spotify. I wish he's not saying that. I hope behind closed doors, he's happy he made the decision. I hope he hired the right attorneys to look at all the fine letters of what's said in Spotify for him to have an out to leave if he wants to leave. Because the way he is, he has to be Joe Rogan for the world to get the best experience of JRE. Yeah. If he's not Joe Rogan, you're not going to get the best experience of him. Yeah. If he can be himself.
People are wired differently. There's mavericks that can't work in a corporate setting. No way. You put them there, it's just an impossible mix. And then there's corporate people that like that security. He is a maverick. This is a corporate environment. If this is already news a couple months into this relationship, I equate it to like a marriage, right? Or a business partner. I mean, these are huge decisions. These are big contracts. This is 9-figure deals. He has to be feeling regret right now because, again, this has to be addressed right now or this is going to spiral very much out of control because when you let those people think they have that kind of power, they're going to infiltrate everything and every media company is susceptible.
Well, here's the other part. Let me say the other part. Okay, if Spotify is also someone that's watching this take place, here's what Spotify has to know. If they have any desire to sign any other talent like a Joe Rogan, say a Ben Shapiro, say you want to go get a Peterson, say you want to get some of these guys that got big followers, you better believe a Ben Shapiro is going to say, I don't know about that. You better believe some of these guys that's going to do exclusive stuff, they're going to say, I don't know about that. And by the way, here's what people have to realize with what happened with Ben Shapiro. Does anybody know whose content got the most comments last month in the month of July? In July. You know what personality got more commentary on Facebook last month? It's Ben Shapiro. Number one is Ben Shapiro. Okay? Ben Shapiro is a guy that you would love. Look at this. Top performing links post by U.S. Facebook pages in the last 24 months. Number one is who? Shapiro, then Fox, then Palin, then Shapiro again, Fox, Robert Reich, Fox, Shapiro again. So you just have to realize this. If you can go back, you know, I don't know if that's a spoof or what is that? Top 10 Kevin Rose. Okay, so
this is a guy that analyzes the Facebook posts that get the most interaction, and he'll post it. He'll put it out every day.
There you go. He's on there. So if Spotify wants to land guys like this to get their following, and you mistreat Rogan, everybody that's in content creation, every one of these names has to come to the defense of Rogan. Everybody. Because the way the first contract is set up is the way the next contract is going to get set up. I don't know if that makes sense or not. Meaning, the way the first person is set up, and if there is no negotiation properly, whoever comes after him, they're going to have to say, well, that's how he did it. And that's how everybody does it. So that's going to continue. So one, the content creator have to protect Joe Rogan. Secondly, I hope Spotify doesn't screw this up.
You know, I would be annoyed if I was the CEO of Spotify and I've got these employees having 10 meetings wasting their time over Joe Rogan content. Here, watch this, though. This is a trend, okay? The other guy this has hit really hard is Bill Simmons, all right? Left ESPN, started The Ringer. Very, very successful. Sold it for a couple $100 million. I mean, the guy made a fortune. Now, they're trying to unionize that newsroom for the union or for The Ringer. Pay attention. The exact same thing is happening right there. These guys that are mavericks, all right, that have built a media company like that, they come in and do it in a certain way. They get into this corporate environment, all hell breaks loose. This is going to be interesting.
Let me ask you, this is a different question. You get a lot of people that give you congratulations. You're the man, you're the this, you're the that. You also get a good amount of people, you don't know shit. You're, man, you got to change it up.
All the time.
Do you listen to anybody? Do you listen to your congratulators? Do you listen to your retractors? Is Joe listening to people that are hating? Is he listening to people saying, I love you, Joe? How do you balance that?
Where are you going with this?
I'm just asking you in general, like, just people hating on Joe right here. Is he listening? Is he listening to the people that say, we love you, Joe? Or
I think so.
Does Joe just say, look, I'm going to do what the flip I got to do?
No, I think there's a part of it. Look, in the star personality, there's an element of him that's an R. R is a relationship guy, which means he's a people person. He wants to be around people. He likes talking to people. Half the time, it's just like he's with his friends, right? He enjoys friendship. He enjoys company of peers. Of course it matters. You know, there's only a few people in the world that criticism and compliments don't get to their head. That's a very, very small community of people, and they're very weird people. Very weird people.
You know people like that?
Let me ask you, you think Michael listened to all his haters? He kept every article.
Yeah, true. But there's also another subset of people that don't pay attention.
So he did listen to his haters.
Oh, no. What he's saying is different than what you're saying.
Yeah.
What he's saying is, guys, there's a whole video of Michael Jordan that is about the grudges he kept. He says, okay, so like, you know how LeBron James, the other looks, I'm pissed off that they didn't give me the MVP. Right. Tell me who's the last time that in 2012, and they gave it to Pau Gasol, Marc Gasol. How was he the defensive player of the year and he was second team defense? Just crying all the time. That wasn't Jordan. Jordan's approach was the following. Okay, so you want to give Karl Malone the MVP? I'm fine. I'm not taking anything away from him. He had a great season, but I'm going to prove to you that I'm better. Right. See, the approach for him is he watched everything with the news on what he wanted to do. What he's talking about, Tom, you're talking about the fact that just don't listen and read anything because it may influence
or bad.
You. Yes.
I think.
Well, look at Kobe as an example. He had a kill list.
Yep.
Did he not? In your interview with him, interview cracked 100 million views, something crazy like that. What did he say about that kill list?
56 people he had on his list. He was on
I love the detail.
You think I'm number 56?
Not 57.
Yeah, but where are you going with this? I'm curious.
I just want to know, like,
you with Rogan?
Okay, is he listening to the retractors? Is he listening to the congratulations?
No, the retractors are in his building.
There are no
within his organization, within Spotify.
Of course he is. Of course he is.
He is listening.
Of course he is. Because listen, there is nothing more annoying than people who are supposed to be on your team that fight you. Forget about people that are not on my team. I don't give a flying, you know what, if you're not on my team and you don't support what I do. But if you're on my team and you're calling me out publicly and you're saying, you have meetings like this, I'm not comfortable with that. That messes with the psyche.
Two things. Look at Sirius when Howard Stern went there. Nothing like this ever happened. I mean, no one gets away with saying more than Howard Stern. So no one's had 10 meetings at Sirius XM saying we want to edit what Howard Stern says on his show. Number two, I mean, what would you do if a corporate entity brought you in to do the podcast that you created?
I would spend 6 months negotiating contracts, and I would bring 3 different law firms to make sure the wording is correct. It has to be the right language. That's the biggest thing when it comes down to contract.